Hey everyone, I'm meteorologist Joe Murgo. Another episode, a special episode of That's Cool. I love to talk about things that you will sit there and go, wow, that's cool. And one of the things that I am going to be talking about now is when I was at my conference at Lake Tahoe, and it was Operation Sierra Storm. They've had this conference for a while. First time I was here, and it's really nice. We learn about the weather, we discuss the weather and climate, and then we get to ski. I came a day early to really enjoy the mountain. And Tahoe is a beautiful place, Lake Tahoe. I've been here before in the summer, and I've never been here in the winter before, and it was definitely a treat. And there's something about alpine cold. Even though I was skiing all day, I was walking around without a jacket. That's one of the beautiful things about sometimes when you're higher up in a dry atmosphere and when the sun's out, it could be really nice. And there's a lot of sunshine, 300 days of sunshine here. So let's learn more about the Lake Tahoe region. I'm going to bring in Chris Larson. Now, Chris, what organization do you work for?
I'm with the Tahoe Regional Planning Agency, and we're celebrating our 50th anniversary. We were formed back in 1969. We're a bi-state compact. And it came about through Ronald Reagan and Paul Laxalt. And it happened right after the 1960 Winter Olympics. And
which was at Squaw Valley on the other side of the lake, right?
Squaw Valley in California, yeah. And there was a recognition that building was sort of exploding out of control, and that if they wanted to save the Lake Tahoe Basin, if they wanted to save the environment and the lake clarity, that they needed to do something. So the two governors came up with that. It was passed by Congress, and then in December of 1969, Richard Nixon signed the TRPA Compact into being.
Wow. And yeah, and everyone's been sitting there going, wait, Ronald Reagan, he was a president. But no, he was before then the governor of California, after he was a movie star too. And it's really interesting, and you call it way develops, but I really do think there's a lot of woods, there's a lot of open space around the lake, and you guys protect the property, right?
We protect the land and the forests around the Lake Tahoe Basin. Our major goal is to protect lake clarity and lake water quality. There's a scientific instrument called a Secchi disc, and it's basically looks like a white dinner plate, and if you drop that down into the water, right now you can see down to about 73 feet.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good. We want to get it back up to about 100 feet. So over the last 25 years, one of our key things has been reducing sediment loading, the fine sediment particles that can make their way into Lake Tahoe that degrade that clarity. So we've worked really hard over the last 50 years to control the amount of building. 80% of the land here is covered by the U.S. Forest Service, state parks, on Nevada and the California side, but there is development. We want to see development. It's good for the economy. We've got a $5 billion economy here, but we also want to protect the lake and make sure it's safe for generations to come.
And let's go ahead and divulge a little secret I never knew before. When they were talking about developing this area, they were talking about making it big, weren't they, at first?
There were folks back in the 50s and the early 60s that envisioned inside the Lake Tahoe Basin a city the size of San Francisco, which is pretty large. There were plans for a 4-lane interstate highway to circle the lake. That didn't happen. There were plans, there's a famous bay here called Emerald Bay. They wanted to build a bridge across that. So that didn't happen. So the lake was saved, and we continue to fight to save lake clarity and water quality here.
And you, in a conference earlier today, you were talking about, there's actually in the water, something that's affecting the quality too, right?
Yeah, researchers at UC Davis have discovered what they think might be something that will help with lake clarity. It's called the mysis shrimp. It was introduced by man too. It's not natural to the Lake Tahoe Basin, but California and Nevada introduced that as a food for fish. But they have discovered that if they're able to harvest that, remove some of these mysis shrimp, that it might affect lake clarity. Well, a lot of research yet to be done, a lot to be seen on that. One point you were talking about, or an interesting factoid, we've got about 39 trillion gallons of water in the lake. There's 63 inputs to Lake Tahoe, so 63 streams that run into the lake. There's only one output, and it's on the north end of the lake in Tahoe City. So one droplet of water that enters Lake Tahoe has a lifespan of about 600 to 650 years.
Wow, that is cool. So the water is pretty old here. Now, I've been here in June, and it can still be pretty chilly. I remember the frost on the windshields in June when I was here. And the water could be cool, but someone told me it does warm up in the summer season some.
It warms up on the shoreline just a little bit. It warms up more so on the west shore than it does the east shore, but still, if you go down more than 12 inches or so, it's pretty cold. I was looking, the average summertime temperature is 64.9 degrees. Still pretty chilly.
That's pretty chilly. And when I took my wife here and the wind was blowing off of the lake, it was a chilly thing, but it's really beautiful. And how did a lake form at such high altitude? We're way above sea level, aren't we?
Way above sea level, 6,200 feet. It's 2 million years old. It took millions of years to happen. Another interesting factoid is natural lake level at Tahoe is about 6223. That's the natural rim. But there's a dam at the north end of the lake that also takes that above the natural rim, so it's used as reservoir. So it feeds the Truckee River, it feeds Reno and Carson City and farmland out towards Pyramid Lake.
Okay, and that's what I was going to ask you. Water systems then use water from the lake?
They use water from the lake. One of our big things that we try to implore people to do is to drink Tahoe Tap. It's the best water you can drink. You don't need to go buy it out of a plastic bottle. You can help save the earth and not use a plastic bottle and just drink Tahoe Tap. It's great.
Yeah, I drank the tap, and I'll have to say that too. Anything else cool you want to tell about the region?
No, it's a year-round destination. We have as many people that come up in the summer as do the winter, probably actually a few more that come up in the summertime. It's a spectacular place to come visit, whether you choose to do so in the summertime or the wintertime. But I'm from the East Coast, so I grew up an East Coast skier. If you've grown up skiing in North Carolina or Pennsylvania, treat yourself to a trip to Lake Tahoe.
It has been nice so far, and I will tell you that. And you guys get a lot of sunshine.
We get a lot of sunshine here. And then the nice thing too, it's not too terribly cold. So we can have massive storms with atmospheric rivers where we'll have 2, 3, 4 feet of snow in a 24 to 36 hour period. The next day it dries out, it's sunny, and it's back to 35 degrees.
I don't know if you remember, if you were around, but the Operation Sierra Storm, I think about 5 years ago, I was in Colorado, we got hit, but you guys got hit so much, I think my friends who were meteorologists who were here said they couldn't even go out one day.
Yeah, there are times that there is so much snow up on the mountain that Heavenly's crews, they can't get the lifts dug out. It will take them 24 to 36 hours just to kind of marshal the resources to dig out the top of the lifts, because again, we're talking in a storm cycle up to 6 feet of snow or more in these big atmospheric river events. So we get a lot of snow in a very short amount of time.
Wow. That's cool. That's cool. Well, all right. Well, thank you very much, Chris. And I am going to also, in another episode of That's Cool, I talked a little bit about skiing at Heavenly. I'm going to share with you an app that you could track your skiing. You'll get to see my statistics from the entire trip I was here at Heavenly Ski Resort. And you get to see everything I was talking about on the Nevada side and the California side. So I'll give you a little preview of that coming up with another episode of That's Cool.